Over at DC Comics, the publisher just wrapped up a hectic San Diego Comic-Con loaded with news announcements. And to commemorate the occasion, DC just went ahead and dropped their full slate of solicitations, advertising comic books on sale for the month of October. We have so many intriguing releases, from a look at the revitalized Justice Society of America Green Lantern Alan Scott, and a sneak peek at Supergirl in the context of the Dawn of DC publishing initiative, as well as a look at some of the Amazons of Themyscira. My name is Ariko Braddock, and today, let's go ahead and take a look at 5 of my most anticipated DC comics in October. Want to encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting our like button as well. Here's a look at our first title. This is Supergirl Special #1 from DC Comics, written by Mariko Tamaki, featuring art from Skylar Patridge and a cover from Jamal Campbell. Girl interrupted. After joining the Superman family and their heroic efforts in Metropolis, Kara thought she had found her place in the world. But there's only one room in town for Supergirl, and Power Girl's sudden reappearance has made her redundant. Her identity and role are both in question as she looks for answers. Will they lead her out of the city or out of this world? Find out as critically acclaimed writer Mariko Tamaki returns to the Maid of Might with the help of Skylar Patridge. Really liked some of Mariko Tamaki's writing over on the She-Hulk comic, as well as that Supergirl being super book. I think Tamaki always digs just below the surface to find really intriguing kind of character narratives and point of views across so many different titles. Also appreciate some of Skylar Patridge's art over on other DC Comics titles. Very excited about this return over to Kara in the context of the Dawn of DC publishing initiative. One final thing to note here, Power Girl has also gone through her own existential crisis over at DC, so hoping that some of this kind of plot threads and story direction don't feel redundant here. And let's take a look at our next book. This is Alan Scott, the Green Lantern #1, written by Tim Sheridan, featuring art from Cian Tormey and a cover by David Talaski. Alan Scott's early days as the Green Lantern are seen in a new light. The Green Lantern is the most powerful member of the Justice Society of America, beloved by all of America, but his personal life is a well-kept secret. This is a story about love, about fear, most of all about courage to stand up to that fear. Alan Scott's is the key to his future when the Red Lantern appears, ready to strike down the mighty Green Lantern. Very excited about some of DC's new approaches to older characters. Alan Scott, for me, is somebody who I've always had a soft spot for in the context of the Justice Society of America and greater DC universe. Really excited to see what both Tim Sheridan and Cian Tormey are going to bring to such a beloved DC hero. Let's go ahead and check in with some old friends with Amazon's Attack #1, written over by Josie Campbell, featuring art from Vasco Georgiev. Take a look at that cover from Clayton Henry. After the shocking events in Wonder Woman, the Amazons are now fighting for a world that no longer wants them. Led by their fearless Queen Nubia, a ragtag group of Amazons featuring Wonder Girl and Faruka 2 frantically searches for answers as their existence and way of life are threatened. Will the tribe survive the new reputation? Find out in this roller coaster of a debut issue. Brought to you by rising stars Josie Campbell and Vasco Georgiev, the series promises to be an action-packed adventure featuring the greatest warrior woman in the DCU. Over the past couple months, I have complained extensively about the lack of Mary Bromfeld, Yara Flor, and some of these other Amazon characters. So I feel like DC is giving me exactly what I've been asking for. Also really excited that this series is written over from Josie Campbell, who's contributed just great, excellent work over to Mary Bromfeld. Vasco Georgiev, very kind of illustrative artist who I think will capture some of the nimble and precise elements of this series as well here. Amazon's attack also kind of features a great touchstone for DC. The line has been a little bit more focused on some of these ancillary characters and really hope DC kind of continues to publish people like Nubia in order to bolster their profile in the greater context of DC. Let's take a look at the second issue of The Flash from DC Comics, still written by Simon Spurrier with art by Mike Deodato Jr., and the cover for the issue is illustrated by Deodato Jr. as well as Trish Mulvihill. As Wally West faces massively powered up old foes, as well as a new mysterious being, he encounters a group of alien explorers who are very interested in Wally's powers, which continue to glitch. Also, something seems to be bubbling in Keystone City as the new era for the Scarlet Speedster continues. There's a new character debuting here called the Stillness. We still haven't seen the debut for this upcoming Flash series, but we've gotten a peek over in the pages of the Flash 800. I was so intrigued at all the panels Mike Deodato illustrated over in that issue, and by the kind of frantic pace of some of that narration in the series, really hoping that the Flash #2 will take on some of those similar elements as they explore this new character known as the Stillness. Let's take a look over at a very special issue of Superman, issue 7, but also the anniversary milestone issue 850. Of course, this one's still written by Superman writer Joshua Williamson, but we have art from Gleb Melnikov, Dan Jurgens, and other creators yet to be announced here. We're taking a look at this cover from Jamal Campbell. Superman 850, a special oversized issue celebrating Superman and his super legacy. Since the start of Superman #1 and Dawn of DC, a mystery has been brewing in Metropolis. Now that the mystery's secrets are unleashed with startling revelations that set up a massive story in 2024, the chain continues as Superman battles against an overpowered menace who wants to destroy Metropolis. Superman must decide if he is willing to follow Lex's tragic orders to take the chain down. And Lex Luthor is visited by a blast from his past, one that will impact his future forever. Really appreciate the measured tone that Joshua Williamson has lent over to the Superman book. It allows the book to kind of enter in scenarios featuring humor, scenarios featuring horror with all of these separate DC characters. I also appreciate the fact that this book is kind of moving forward with some long-term plot threads here. The solicit is directly referencing something upcoming over in 2024. At San Diego Comic-Con, we saw the first glimpse of the villain known as the Chained. There are so many individual plot threads that are kind of bubbling to the surface over in this upcoming Superman tale. Very intrigued to go ahead and see what Williamson, Melnikov, Jurgens, and the other creators in the issue have in store. Here's a look over at the final issue of City Boy, issue 6 of 6. City Boy is written by Greg Pak, featuring art from Minkyu Jung. City Boy versus Swamp Thing and the entire natural world itself. After discovering that City Boy's powers parallel those of Swamp Thing, Cameron isn't sure if the source of his power should be trusted, and whether he can even do anything about it. The fate of the world relies on what he and only he can do to save it now. In addition to City Boy, The Vigil, and Spirit World are also ending from DC over in October. These were all titles making up the We Are Legends publishing initiative, really bolstering some of the minority heroes over to the limelight at DC. City Boy was a fantastic series that zoomed in on the character of Cameron Kim, a sort of loner who's acclimated to the DC universe. As the series has gone on, they've introduced more and more plot threads, kind of cementing Cameron in the context of DC, and I'm really hoping that as the title continues here, the kind of City Boy series is more entrenched within the continuity of DC. Love the fact that Swamp Thing is referenced over in this solicit as well. So it looks like we're already getting a little bit of where I'm hoping this series is headed in the final issue here. So at the end of the day, I think DC is still in a great place in the month of October. There's also some other kind of interesting Golden Age characters as well returning to comics this month with titles like Sandman 2. I want to know from you, which of these titles are you most looking forward to? How excited are you for the debut of a brand new Alan Scott book and to see all of the We Are Legends books wrap up? Hope we get them published in a new format as soon as possible here. But I want to know from you, which of these titles are you looking forward to? Thanks so much for coming to check out our video, and we'll be back to cover all Marvel and DC comics in the near future. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.